Hello there guys, this is Dino Man here, and today we are doing another review, and this review is going to be the 2015 Safari Ltd Nasutoceratops. First up, its pose. Now this animal is in a trotting pose. On this side we have this leg just beginning to be placed on the ground, and this leg just beginning to be lifted, and the opposite on the other side with this leg just beginning to be lifted and this one just beginning to be placed on the ground. It's in a very nice kind of a hurried look. It's like it's not running, but it's trotting. Like it has places to be, but it's not super duper important for it to get there. The animal's mouth is closed, and overall the pose just looks pretty good. It's not the best, but at least it's not standing there. It is at least doing something. You can tell it's on the move. Overall, I give this figure a 9 out of 10 on the pose because it is very good. Now some of you might have noticed that that is a bit more of a generous score than I would typically give to figures, but I've kind of realized that I kind of have to, and I'm scoring them lower on the pose when they really have a fine pose, which is why I'm going to start being more generous when it comes to points for the pose for dinosaur figures. Next up, detail. Just like prior Safari Ltd Ceratopsians, this animal has individually sculpted scales all over its body, and not even the feet have been left out. The underside is good. It also has this row of scales along the top. The beak has some texturing on it, but not all that much. It's more so on the other side, and the horns seem to lack texturing altogether. It does have lovely bags of skin and wrinkles all over the body, which really help give a feeling of sagging skin. It's just my big complaint about it is it looks as though this creature's skin is like really loose on its body. Like it's a bit too loose than it should be. I think that these wrinkles and loose skin features are a bit too over-defined, and they really should not be quite that well defined. It just kind of looks a little bit unnatural to me. So overall, I'm going to give it a 8 out of 10 for detail. It's not the best detailing we've ever seen, but it is still very, very nice. Next, the paint job. Now, this is going to be the section where this figure probably fails the most in, because its paint job is very, very simplistic. It appears as though the color of the plastic is indeed this gray color that covers most of the body, which again I am fine with, but then the only other real color on it is they have painted the eye, and they've painted a pupil and an iris in there. Let me see how close I get there. They have painted a pupil and an iris in there, which is very nice to see. It looks a lot better on this side. But as far as the rest of the coloration goes, the horns are the exact same color. All the beak is, everything is. The only real areas of this figure that aren't gray or this same yellow color are the eye, and on the feet it has this very nice, like a gray brushing on top of that. This lighter colored gray. Should focus. But other than that, the figure really truly is very lacking on paint job. But one thing that I noticed immediately upon receiving this guy is the frill coloration. It is different from the other Nasutoceratops I have seen. If you look at Bioniclesaurus's review, or a lot of other people's reviews, it has spots on the frill, yellow spots, whereas mine has these stripes along the side and these uneven, mind you, like parallel things that are going up along the frill, which is very, very weird to me. Like, I have no idea why it looks different on mine. Maybe mine was just like a defect or something like that. Maybe they changed the paint job, because I did get him a lot more recently. Maybe they changed the paint job for the frill. I really truly do not know. It's not going to change his score or anything, but it's just something I'd like to point out. So overall, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 for the paint job. It really is very simplistic. They could have added a lot more detail on it. Even if they just didn't use the same shade of yellow, I think would have made the figure look a lot better. Next up, paleontological accuracy. Now, this figure appears to me to be fairly accurate. It has, like Safari have been doing, the feet are indeed correct. The toes that are on the back that I was complaining about were too high on the Pachyrhinosaurus and Diabloceratops are indeed much lower and look more where they should be. It has the same pads on the back of the feet. It's only walking on its tiptoes on its feet. It looks very, very good in terms of accuracy wise and everything. It's got a nice short tail. Now, it doesn't have the catafemoralis longus muscle running into the tail. Like, you can see how there's the divot in the leg and then going into the tail. It would have been nice to see it fusing into the tail more naturally instead of this sudden jut, but at the very least, the round bulge that I was complaining about earlier doesn't really seem to be on this figure, or at least not as well defined, which is nice. It has the same row of scoots running down the back, which I don't really know about that. I think that it's fine to put it there. Is scales of different sizes. Some of them are big, some of them are small. The scalation looks how it should. The head, which is really the defining feature of every ceratopsian, looks very good as well. It has the bigger nose, like how the nose juts up on its face, which is important because that is where this animal gets its name from. Nasutoceratops means big-nosed, horned face. The horns also look very much like cow horns, a lot more so than other ceratopsians, and they kind of have this jut up area, which is also very accurate to the genus as well. It possesses nostrils where it should and an ear hole where it should. It also does not possess shrink wrapping on the skull, and as in the other ceratopsians, it once again has the shoulder blade and whole arm region just so barely visible that it makes it accurate. And even though it is not colored, it does possess a cloaca, which is located where it should be behind the ischium. So, accuracy-wise, I am going to give this guy a 9.5 out of 10. He is a insanely accurate figure. If you can find more inaccuracies about him than I can, feel free to point them out in the comments. But the only real thing that I could find was the not very much fusing of between the leg and the tail. But other than that, he seems completely accurate to me, which is definitely very, very impressive. Good job, Safari Ltd on this figure. You really did a great job on it, accuracy-wise. So, before we figure out its overall score, let's figure out how big it is and do some size comparisons. So, this figure is about 7 or so inches long, which is about 16 centimeters or so. 17, 16, somewhere along those lines. It is about 6 centimeters tall and about 2.5 inches tall. First up for size comparisons is our constant, the 2017 Safari Ltd Feathered Velociraptor, which you can kind of see how those guys size up to each other. Next is the Collecta 2015 Nasutoceratops, and then you can see how these guys size up to each other. And next, for the figure that we reviewed last time, the Collecta 2014 Xenoceratops. Now, for this figure's overall score. Overall, I give this figure a 8 out of 10. It really is a very, very nice figure. This is one of Safari's ceratopsians, and Safari does a great job on their ceratopsians, and this is really a great example of that. So yeah, that wraps up this review on the 2015 Safari Nasutoceratops. Next review, we will be doing the 2015 Collecta Nasutoceratops. So I will see you all then. Dino Man, out.